Round one, playing first, and yeah, this is a nice keep. Good hand. All three colors. Plays starting on turn 3. Borrowed Grace and Genius Scab is kind of good too. I like that. It's pretty crazy actually if you have enough mana in the late game. Pay 5 mana, Prowess trigger. So what is that? Just from that it becomes a 5/6. And then if you have any excess blue, you can just start pumping away after that. It's pretty cool. All right. No need to reveal any cards. Dawngriff. Well, huh. So I've got a choice here. If I play the Scab and my opponent attacks into it, they probably have a combat trick. So where's that going to leave me? Am I willing to block my Prowess awesome dude and trade it for a combat trick? I don't really want to. Or I could just play the Flyer and set up the Scab next turn, as well as leave up 1 mana to pump it, maybe? Do I want to race? Or do I want to stall? I mean, we have a great late game plan, so I might just want to stall. Let's put the roadblock down. And I suppose if my opponent attacks into it, I'll take it. I just am hoping my opponent doesn't, basically. Because I don't... It's quite the bluff if my opponent were to attack and not have a combat trick. That's a pretty courageous, brave bluff. But I would not think it's a bluff, basically. You know, our opponent has not shown us a third color yet. I mean, there is just like any combat trick when we're tapped out, especially, will get us. Oh, I definitely like the pre-combat Dauntless Cathar. That makes me feel better. I feel like that tells me my opponent doesn't have anything combat trick-wise. Because otherwise, why wouldn't they just... If my opponent was tapped out with an Ingenious Scab and I had a 2/2, I would probably attack in if I had a combat trick, right? Can we all get on the same page there? So now I'm just going to play the Dawngriff. I guess I'll leave up a Choked Estuary and we'll pass. So I think I'm going to take the Dauntless Cathar swing. My opponent not attacking with their Dauntless Cathar is also pretty strange. So, So remember, I can't do both sides of Borrowed Grace because I only have 1 white mana. I don't really want to trade Dawngriff for Dawngriff here. I can attack with both my guys. Yeah, and I can still play one side of Borrowed Grace and Compelling Deterrence. So I can attack with both. Yeah, that might actually be just fine, actually, now that I think about it. Because my opponent might take it, too. And I'll definitely trade. My opponent missed a couple land drops. I suppose I should have mentioned that. So this is actually a... I think we will do the Borrowed Grace. I could do Deterrence on the Cathar, but it doesn't protect my Griff. So we'll do Borrowed Grace. And we got to protect Toughness, but it still buffs this guy. I think this is worth it. I don't even have to leave up Deterrence either. Now I can just double pump my Scab as well. This is pretty big. Yeah, I mean, that works fine. Take out a Dawn Griff, deal 5 damage to my opponent. We're ahead on the race now. And I have some tempo as well as removal. Alright, opponent finds their 4th land. If they're trying to race now, I think this is going to work better for us. That's actually fine. He 2-for-1 himself to get slightly ahead on the board, so I don't really care about that. So we'll play Terrarian to buff the Scab. And attack with Scab, and we're going to follow up with Perish Blade too. So we have instant and creature at the moment. Oh, okay. Well, I'm alright with that too. So we'll play our Perish Blade and pass. Alright. So I'm guessing my opponent's got some Emerge in there. Faithbearer Paladin's a good card, but might have to Restraints that. Shepherd's a good draw. So let's just get Flyer online and we'll pass. Leave up the Deterrence. Yep. So I can Deterrence that. Deterrence is a lot more brutal when your opponent's got no cards in hand, because then it's just like a kill spell. So I think we're going to bust the Restraints on the Paladin. I don't have a problem with that. And then I can actually attack with the Ingenious Scab too. So I can crack Terrarian to draw the extra card, because I don't need the fixing anymore. Doesn't matter. Just want to draw a card. Very good. Okay. So let's restrain the Paladin. Let's swing with Scab plus Shepherd. Just chumping? Well, I like that. Oh, he's got a combat trick. Okay. I guess I could have deterrenced in response. But I kind of wanted to cast Wretched Griff this turn. Yeah, I think that's better. Actually, I can deterrence now, can't I? Like, I can deterrence their... I can actually deterrence their clue. This is weird. I can deterrence their clue, eat their Cathar, and they still have to discard. That is actually pretty brutal. I think we'll do that. Because the beauty of this is they don't even get to discard the card I bounce. They have to... They lose a card draw and they lose a card in hand, plus they lose their Cathar. Yeah, this is actually worth it. So we get a prowess trigger. They lose their clue. They discard a card. They lose... Yeah, I think this is worth it. It's overall pretty good value. And in fact, I would argue the value was actually better there than just bouncing the Cathar. Because if I bounce the Cathar, my opponent probably just discards the Cathar. Maybe it's the same thing. Probably is just the same thing, now that I think about it. Alright. So... now I can just hard cast Wretched Griff. Well, that seems good. Let's just... well, let's just swing for the fences here. My opponent doesn't really have any sort of great block. They can double block my Spectral Shepherd. I think I'm just going to trade a Shepherd for a Spectral Reserves. My opponent's got no cards left in hand either. It's an odd block as well. All right, let's get Mr. Griff out there. Mr. Griff. All right, mysteries. I think I'm still going to just swing for the fences here. That was actually a good draw. All right, so let's scrutiny. Okay. So he gets the mysteries. Mysteries is definitely a good card. I guess I could have restrained the Faithbearer Paladin. It would have made sense since my opponent's clearly running Emerge in there. Right? Otherwise, I guess it's possible they're not running Emerge, but it seems pretty unlikely that you would run Foul Emissary, a 3-mana 1/1 that lets you maybe get a creature. So Iron Right's Cleansing. Basically just for Uvenwald Mysteries. I don't know how I feel about that. The fact that Cleansing is a sorcery and 3 mana really is a downside. Like, I don't really care that it exiles. I guess it means you don't help their Delirium, but I don't know. I'm not really on board with bringing in Cleansing, especially considering I have 8 evasive creatures, potentially. That alone should be a good reason to not bring in this removal, since I can just fly over top and win. Although my opponent's got some flyers too. But yeah, I think we're going to run it back again. Yeah, this hand needs some work, but I'm going to keep it. Like, one land in our Lone Rider gets crazy. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. What? Talk about a preemptive concession. So you don't draw a land and you concede the match? Jeez. All right. Well, what were we going to draw again? I missed it. So we were going to draw an island. So we go Lone Rider. We were going to be able to do the Borrowed Grace thing. So we were looking pretty sexy this game. But still, that's, I mean, of course we're going to take the win. Of course we'll take it. All right. We'll see you round 2.